My name is Kehinde Elisha. This is for HRM 615, and my professor is Dr. Dwayne Bidell, and I'll be presenting today troubleshooting process. There was a case study presented in class about there is this health group called the SCHG. They recently installed a system that proved a little bit stubborn, won't work, and we know how that can drive anybody crazy. As you can see on the picture to my right, this guy is going crazy that something went wrong. And how many times do we see on the screen this kind of a blue and brown thing that pops up and we don't know what it means? Well, from the skills that this IT person possessed already, he was able to figure out that there were some errors logged somewhere. So how do we figure it out? How do we fix it? We'll figure that out as we progress in the slide. Slide 3 is the introduction, and how am I going to solve the situation is the question that was asked. And that's me on the left staring at the computer trying to figure it out. So as an information technician, part of our role is to assess the situation, diagnose the problem, and find a solution to the issue. So computer technician will troubleshoot using a methodological process, typically a step-by-step approach, which will in turn produce a better result than a hit or miss or guess. There are lots of troubleshooting guidelines, each with their own names and wording for the steps involved. The CompTIA troubleshooting theory has 6 steps that are used to take you through the process of resolving a computer problem. The importance of the steps. What is the importance of following the steps? What do we do when we skip and miss the steps? How many of us will get like even a manual to a cell phone? How many of us even read the manual to a cell phone? And sometimes a little thing goes wrong and we think, oh, it's a big problem. Well, when something happens, do not panic. That's when to sit up and step up and try to figure out, how do I figure it out? What did CompTIA recommend? What are the steps to follow? So in the scenario presented, especially where there is the other option for breathing stomachs, it will be important to follow the steps involved in resolving the issue critically and carefully. One will be able to know the best plan of action and resolve the issue and be able to deal with the variety of problems that may present themselves. Also, documenting the findings will prepare you for the future if such problems occur again. So what are the steps of fixing the error log file that was found according to the case study that was presented? Recommended by CompTIA are 4 steps, and step 1 is the system malfunctions and systems are identified. Step 2, a list of possible causes is generated based on existing knowledge, research, and all previous experience. Step 3, additional data is collected and based on a process of elimination, the causes of problem are determined. Step 4, the solution is tested to confirm that the problem has been solved. And to my left here is showing what is possibly gonna show up on the screen when we have a computer trying to diagnose itself. Sometimes when we go through and we run the diagnostics, you see the computer will freeze up showing identifying the problem. And what do we mean when we say identify the problem? It means the question the user and identify the user changes the computer to perform backups before many changes. So how many times have you heard this that, oh, my computer will not work? Which leads to the network administrator's response. Could you please be more vague? And often the user reporting the problem is frustrated and only knows that the computer is preventing the completion of a task. It is a responsibility of network administrator to find out what aspect of the user's machine is not working. Instead of taking our own frustration out of them, we have to figure out what is truly not working. So in this case, we have to figure out, okay, what is going on, what is the source of it, where does the problem start, and where does it begin. And then the other point is establish theory of probable cause. So the list of probable causes is generated based on the existing knowledge, research, or previous experience. One theory is confirmed to determine the next steps to resolve the problem. If this theory is not confirmed, Then you have to establish a new theory or escalate. So after a problem has been identified, the next step is to consider all the possible causes. Can it be connectivity issues? Do you need to turn it on and turn it off? Do you need to do some kind of cleanup? And in most situations, there are several possible causes for a network error, and the administrator could and should identify each possible cause. Collect additional data if needed. Additional data is collected based on the process of elimination. The causes of the problem are determined. Test and prevent. So the solution is tested to confirm the problem that is solved. So some changes may take time to trigger. Observe the result of each solution. Go back to the fact gathering phase and determine if your solution solved the problem. If the trouble still exists, then reference your list of possible causes and attempt to resolve the next most likely cause of the problem. So let's fix it. So now we're going back to the scenario, trying to figure out exactly what the problem is, how we're going to fix it. And that is what this slide is about. So I'll begin by performing an integrity scan of the operating system files. This will take time this usually take a long time, but the benefit of being patient with this is that it will restart and it will reboot and restart my computer and actually start up with the corrected files if it works. Okay, the next step, I'm gonna go ahead and go through system configuration and boot log, so that when the system is restarted, it will restart with a new system called Windows and Event Viewer boot logs, and then generate some other computer names. And then another way of fixing, actually with the Linux computers, you can go through the individual application logs. For example, if it's Mac OS, it can be accessed through the utilities and the console. But you do need to go through the logs to figure out, for the computer to figure out which logs to be fixed. Alternatively, you can start the recovery process by starting the command prompt. Especially for example here, I gave a Windows Vista 7, the system recovery options command prompt, and other options of troubleshooting it to take me through the process till I get to the end. The benefit of command prompt is that it gives you a lot of access and you can modify services. You can repair or replace files. It is powerful and then dangerous. This should be the last option. Complete control. Use, copy, and rename or replace the operating systems and files and folders. It also enables or disables services or device startup. Repair the file system, boot sector or master reboot record. Create a format drives. Pressing the FA key. If you press the FA key during the Windows startup, go to choose other options, troubleshoot, select advanced options and command prompt, and then have access to the system. System repair disk can also be used. It may be created if it does not come with the system. Microsoft System Config or MS Config. Microsoft System Configuration has a different number of options. You can enable or disable quite a number of programs starting during the booting process. I can enable or disable services, which I think is great. So if I find some kind of log error on my system that I don't think it should be there, I have the ability to do what I want here. That's why I have the API faces, because you have some control over what you want to allow on your computer, and you have some control over what you want to disallow on your computer. So using the four steps to quickly and efficiently solve problem is great, but the best solution for your network woes is to solve the problem before it affects your users. So the only way to do that is to devote time creating baselines for your network and continually monitor your network changes. In network administration, once an ounce of prevention can prevent a 24-hour shift to resolve. So when you see a pending problem, go ahead and Prevent it is better. Prevention is better than cure. The time that we put into curing a problem is longer than the time that we put in preventing it. So I conclude by saying the following following the step-by-step approach will certainly get me somewhere. If it doesn't work, then I will ask for help from a technician or an authority at my level is another way to go. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.